So FinFun did a dumb thing. They accepted an entry into their Mermaid Tail Design Contest that was designed, at least in part, you know, for legal reasons I have to say that, by the AI Midjourney. And I actually have evidence to back this up. Welcome back, my fishes, to another video where I talk about things in the mermaid community that really tick me off. I received a message over on Instagram from a follower, thank you so much for reaching out again, fishy, asking me, basically, what my thoughts were on this particular situation. I don't follow FinFun anymore, so I had no idea what they were talking about, so I zipped on over to their account and took a look. Found the post, started scrolling through the comments, and was very actually, honestly, refreshed and impressed to see the number of people who were like, no, this was not okay. What you doing? You did your mermama proud though, I do gotta say, before we go any further, just mwah. And because I was early enough to this dumpster fire, I saw that FinFun had actually made a post in their stories addressing the situation. And I quote, "Thanks to everyone who participated in our tail design contest. We have heard your concerns and have contacted the winner and have verified they did not violate the rules of the contest. We have decided to move forward with the current winner. Thank you for," and I had to insert your here because a little bit of a typo, "your passion and commitment to this contest." Now, okay, so I was like, all right, well, they say it doesn't violate the terms. I don't see how, in my opinion, not having read their rules yet. It's an AI-generated mermaid tail. We'll just stick a pin in it for a second. So the next thing that I did was immediately went to find their rules. Now, some beautiful person actually shared their rules and like highlighted the section. Bless whoever you were who took the time to do that. You're amazing. Entries generated by script, macro, robotic, programmed, or like means are prohibited and will be disqualified. So if that doesn't directly refer to AI-generated artwork, I would like somebody to explain to me what entries generated by script, macro, robotic, programmed, or like means actually means. Somebody make it make sense, okay? Somebody please. So before we kind of get into how I am so sure that this is, at least in part, an AI-generated design, let me tell you a little bit about myself and really why my opinion actually matters on this whole situation. So hi, my name is Courtney. I'm a digital artist with over 20 years of experience working in programs like Photoshop. I was one of the very first artists to create custom mermaid tails from my digital designs back in 2014, 2015-ish. And I have been making mermaid tails since 2006. I've made something like 107 individual mermaid tails at this point. So you could say that I know what I'm doing when it comes to mermaid tails and how they're made and how they're designed. Now let's talk about how I know that this is, again, at least in part, an AI-generated piece of artwork. So the first big clue is let's compare it to the other entries you see on this page. This design looks professional. The colors are beautiful and work really well together. The contrast is high, the polish is stunning. And when you compare it to the other two designs, and this is not, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad about their work. This is purely just factual. You just look at it, you see what you see. It really kind of stands out as like a, question mark, question mark, question mark. The other two tails, in terms of skill level and overall polish and design, are very similar. This one is, it's doing something completely different here. So this already feels a little bit off, right? And that just nicely brings us to the next point. What the hell is happening with the scales on this thing? You got scales colliding into other scales, mismatched patterns, colors, overall design, size. It just looks like so many other AI-generated images. There's just a lot of weirdness going into this. Now, the human brain, when it comes to designing scale sheets, and again, hundreds of mermaid tails later, and I have helped a lot of artists kind of work on their craft, and I've seen a lot of other tail makers designing scale sheets. We go for symmetry, typically. It's kind of part of the brain. Symmetry is very aesthetically pleasing when it comes to mermaid tails and especially scale sheets. People like things to line up. These scales, this does not say to me that a human did this. And you can also see the design of the fluke, like the lines on the fluke, that's the fin at the bottom, the monofin shape, do not actually follow the shape of the monofin, whereas in the other two, they follow it more closely. This is something, again, it's a tendency that people will have, and personally, I think it looks better when the lines of your design actually follow the shape of the monofin. This person didn't do that. Now, that's not as uncommon to see Some people do that if they have a little bit less experience working with the shapes, but it's still it's still a bit of a red flag, you know? And there's even like oddness on the parts of that fluke where you can see like some of the lines don't line up. And again, if it was done organically, those kind of mistakes aren't as likely to happen, just given how people sculpt and draw. It's just a big question mark, really. In my eagerness to prove my point, I went on something of a journey, a mid-journey, if you will. But it started off with a Google search. Simply, I put in AI mermaid scales. And what do you imagine came up? Oh, if I wasn't just shook to my core. End sarcasm. So as you can see, these two sets of scales are incredibly similar. Though they do lack the little like silver trim. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Overall, the design, the polish, the finish, the little details within the scales, way too similar. And yes, you may want to sit there and be like, oh, but the colors are not. This is something that's very easy to adjust in Photoshop. The saturation, how bright the greens are, how bright the blues are, how vibrant the purple is, all of that levels can be adjusted very easily. What you want to look at is the overall finish. Like these two designs came from the same place. Like that is painfully obvious to me. So where are these scales from? I click the image and it takes me to Adobe Stock. Okay, this is where you can go. You can buy stock images to use for whatever it is that you want. You've got different licenses, so you can use it for different things. Okay, fine. This is a business, as people do this and, you know, whatever. But if you read the title of this image, ooh, love it. It reads, colorful scales background, mermaid scales, dragon scales, sea theme wallpaper, generative AI. Okay, so now I've gotten my first really big kick you in the butt kind of a clue. All right, so this came from an AI. It says it in the thing. Perfect. So upon closer inspection, I do recognize it to be from Midjourney. Why? Because everybody and their cousin over the last couple of months has used Midjourney for all kinds of things. Oh, look at this piece of artwork of my face that I made using Midjourney. It's so cool. Whatever. If you're not using it for stuff you're getting paid for, I feel like that's the asterisk. Or you're not using it to enter a contest, maybe that's the asterisk. If you're using it just for fun, hey, whatever. You can see I've got opinions on this. We're gonna get to some of them further on, so just hang tight. So where do I go next, do you think? Off to Midjourney's main website. I'm like, okay, how the hell do I sign up for this? How does this go? So I sign up, I go to their Discord, I read through their instructions. Let's do this. So I type out what I think is gonna get me as close as possible. And it took me a couple of tries before I nailed it. And yeah, we nailed it. I was able to get it to give me scales that are almost the same. Okay, you can see all of the main characteristics that tell me that this original design came, at least in part, from an AI. You can see the little details in the scales. One of them even had the little bit of trim. So we can't pretend for even a second that this tail didn't, at least in part, come from an AI. This was not anybody's original design. I mean, it was at one point, but an AI takes its information from different art sources, from different images and whatever, and mashes it all together, and boom, this is what you get. And now I can acknowledge that some artistic skill on some level was needed to kind of put this together on the template with all the different, like if you got a different AI generated image for the fluke, I don't know, and it was just the scales or whatever, maybe a little bit of color editing went into it. I knew the battery was gonna go. I knew it. That pisses me off so much. Okay, my angle's gonna change and I'm sorry. I don't think there is anything as frustrating in life as your camera having a full battery, but because it's been sitting for a while, it doesn't hold its charge, you know? Nothing as frustrating as that. Okay, but that doesn't change the fact that this came from an AI source. It doesn't change it. And even if this person just purchased that Adobe stock image and then made little tweaks and edits and tried to make their own scale sheet, or even fed that image into a different AI, which is entirely possible as well. I've seen people do this where they take like their base image, and there's other AI services out there that can take multiple images that you give it. It could even have given it the FinFun template and been like, here, just, you know, do the thing, and gotten close enough and then just made little tweaks. But this is wrong, like for so many reasons. There are so many problems with this right here. So let's touch on a few. One, this was a tail design contest for artists, not for AI. You want to have an AI mermaid tail design contest? Go to town. Don't sell the thing, but go to town. You do you, okay? This was for artists. This was for humans, not for machines. I can't believe I just said that. Where What is this? This is like Terminator level crap. Like, what am I talking about? Machines like this is just insanity to me. 2, it is completely unfair to allow someone who used the advantage of an AI to generate their design to win when so many other artists, in most cases here very young artists, you know, it's been fun, right? Worked so hard on their designs with the skill set that they have, right? I mean, if you read through any of those comments, people were really upset. People were really upset. You know, well, I worked so hard on my design. Why did I even bother? What was the point of even trying if somebody who used an AI generator to make their tail won anyways? That hardly seems fair to me. 3, it states it in your rules. Like, it states it in the rules. So why have rules for a contest if it doesn't even matter? If it doesn't even matter and you know, I could turn around and just throw down whatever I want, throw it into the thing and be like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm so awesome. You know, and sure, I don't have all of the information about who this person was, and I don't want to, you know, no hate to this person. Maybe they didn't realize what they were doing. Maybe there were some extenuating circumstances. We don't know all the facts, but I know that FinFun should have maybe stepped up a little bit here. And then 4, which is probably the one that just really irks me the most. AI generators are learning off of the art from actual artists who are not getting paid or compensated or credited in any way. In some of these images that Midjourney created, you can actually see little bits of people's watermarks and signatures and stuff. You can actually see it in the scales. I mean, that's a red flag out the wazoo. So like, why does any of this matter? Like, Courtney, why are you even bothering to make a video? What's the point? An excellent question. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The mermaid community exists because of its artists. Everything you're wearing, everything you're using, even if you made it yourself, came from an artist. FinFun holds design contests, for whatever reason. You know, there's lots of reasons to hold a contest. And they will take the winning design and sell it. And to my knowledge, they don't compensate. They don't like further compensate the winner, aside from, I think the winner gets a tail. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure what all that they earn, but there's no further compensation happening there, right? And frankly, I could see this winning tail selling really well. Its color scheme, that the blues, the greens, and the purples, you guys all go nuts for. If you don't personally, just trust me, the greater mermaid community goes insane. Anything blue and purple, and the world loses its collective mind. Everybody wants it. This tail had such a high level of polish and detail and high contrast, which is also something that sells well, and sparkle and all of that. How could FinFun not put it up on its website and do it, right? It's all about that bottom line, isn't it? And this is something that is unfortunately very common among companies that don't view their mermaid tails as art, who do not necessarily value artists for their work. And there are other companies out there who really don't value their artists. So when it comes to my kind of final opinion on all of this, I personally feel they should remove the tail from their website. They should apologize to their community. They should take the top 3 tails that don't violate their rules from their contest. Do a recount if you have to. They should re-announce the winners, and that should be it. I really don't see that happening though. Honestly, they've already made a tail. They've got it up on their website. They're selling it. I don't know if any have sold. I hope not. But it would be really nice if at the bare minimum they can recognize that, hey, we made a little bit of an oopsie. Let's not do that again. Let's be a little bit more aware and a little bit more careful when we're allowing things to not violate our rules, right? I really just hope this gives you guys a little bit of food for thought. It's been a bit of a rocky time for tail makers in our community recently. I'm sure you guys have seen some other very upsetting things happening here and there. It may be stuff I cover in the future, who knows? It is really important to recognize these things when they happen, and I do want to give a huge shout out to all those of you who left a comment. I'm not saying let's all dive onto FinFun now and give them lots of hate, but a little bit of education needs to happen here, and it's really important that you guys do show the support to your artists, to the artists in the community. I'm not just talking about me. This is not actually even about me. We all know I don't publicly sell mermaid tails anymore. I don't really care what's going on. I just want my fellow makers and my fellow artists to feel like we've got their back, because again, whether you realize it or not, where you purchase your mermaid tail, you may be getting something from an artist who was paid fairly, who was credited for their work, who was shown kindness and compassion and consideration, or you could be getting it from somebody who didn't give two, who didn't pay them fairly, and who treated them like absolute garbage. So all that said, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, join the pod, hit the bell, never miss an upload. You know the deal. Comment below, respectfully please, with your thoughts on the whole situation, maybe how you'd like to see FinFun move forward. And I want to thank you guys again for watching. I look forward to catching you all again in my next video. Happy swimming! Bye. Like, it makes me want to rip all my hair out, though. Like, if I don't have a lot left, but this little strip here, I could just right out there, you know?